Hello! After almost halfway into my third season at 4 Loki, we've somehow managed to avoid it so far, but we're finally facing LVT. Very uphill struggle, but yeah, fun one. Also my biggest war of the season so far. We've got Bastion, Prowler and Medusa today on some very long fights, which I wasn't sure how comfortable I felt on. But after lots of duels and practice and thought processes and prep and all that stuff, we are ready to get underway. And first to move in my BG as well, we're going path 9 into path 2, and then we've got Yelena on node 44 there, Onslaught 47 and Warlock on 49. Lots of friends here still. We start off with Mad Cat's big rank 4 max 6 Sentinel on node 9, which we're going to take with Prowler. Prowler is only half immune to the node, but has the power lock, power control here, and also if I do get clipped while Sentinel throws an L2 in full analysis mode, I won't burn to death because I'm incinerate immune. Starting off the fight though, he's in rupture mode, which I don't want to hit during. I don't want to start hitting his block to give myself space or anything like that, so we're already going to build up his analysis charges. I want to keep him empty so that I can start during bleed, parry heavy and set him on fire and start the damage going. There are a few different ways to play this fight. Throughout my duels I was mainly sticking to L1s, getting a couple of L2s off, but I decided, especially with power efficiency here, if I can sort of keep L1s, which are slightly lower on the damage side, but with taunt active, I can keep his power low and just efficiently clean him up really. There we go, we get to analysis complete, which would be a problem if we didn't have complete power drain after each special. So far the fight's going very well, a little bit easier than I expected it to. Obviously there's lots of windows of me taking my time. Also again, after each special, if it happens to finish during rupture, I'm not going to punish him, or much at least. Again, as whilst he's got 0 bars of power, each parry heavy, or heavy for that matter, is going to reignite the incinerate damage. So we're down to about halfway now, and I have my eyes on obviously watching his health and waiting for the final phase where he gets his armor, and I just want to try and make sure I have an L1 ready, just to try and keep him sort of between 1 and 2 bars, so that when he does throw the special, ideally during when his armors are up, he'll power drain and lock himself, and his power gain into 3 bars won't be a problem. So far we're all heading in the right direction, completely selling on time, but we're never going to beat LVT on time. We're never going to be LVT, to be honest. Maybe in one world, but I think at this point we were already getting ourselves a wee bit spanked. Anyway, not the time and place for that. So we get a little bit lucky there. He gets to just under 2 bars, which actually means more damage for him to power drain himself when he throws the special. The more power you burn on it, the greater damage you get in ruptures. Armors are all gone, hasn't been a problem. We've played this fight perfectly. I probably could have done it quicker and more efficiency if I'd have thrown a couple of L2s, but I'm not worried there. Didn't want to die today, and we start our war off very, very well. Suicides are still off. We move to Weapon X, which I'm very familiar with. Again, just standard fight with Bastion. I'm also going to get hit in the face again, going for an intercept. Always happens on this node. I don't understand why. It's all good. I play it slightly off here, but it's okay, never in danger. Just sort of mismanage my power a little bit. We do have no power backs here because of the protection. I start with a PS1 so that I can build up to 2 bars quickly. I was a little bit silly there throwing the L2 because it already went into berserk mode, and so most of that went into block, and luckily I didn't get punished. Of course we get hit in the face there. We're not going to try and line up a heavy. I've done this fight like almost, you know, the last time I took this, I think a couple of wars ago, that L1 completely one shot, and this time it was not the case. Heavy into L1 this time. I do also only have the one Fury up, which doesn't help. That doesn't matter. Good old wonderful Mexican Ray de la Noche's Weapon X is flat. We're going to move to section 2. Shout out to Liza here for her gentle. I went into this fight knowing that my colleagues in BGs 1 and 2 had died to, not gentle, but died to this node already this war, so I really wanted to make sure I was going to solo here. The difficulty with using Bastion against gentle, I mean neither him or Prowler have the unstoppable counter, but Bastion has so many hits in his L1 that I really have to be careful of the muscle mass counter or whatever it is to trigger unstoppable. So far so good. I'm trying not to do too many dashbacks because he's just going to regen lots. It's okay at the start of the fight. He's back to full health already. And that's okay. We don't play this fight brilliantly. We make a slight mistake. Which we will come to. For now, we are going to just throw the R1, 2 Furies up. It's going to do a nice chunk of, actually, a fairly pathetic amount of damage considering. I'm not really sure why there. He hadn't thrown an L2. I mean, he is a big chunky boy. Bastion isn't my favourite for a gentle anyway. I completely mistimed everything there. I wasn't watching his hit counter. We're getting him down. Not as quick nuke as I would have liked. He's regenning very strongly. This L1 is going to trigger into unstoppable because it's too many hits. Silly old knob. Again, I'm not too worried. This L1 wall, I think it kills him. Yeah, there we go. We get there in the end. That was a little bit of an uphill struggle. And now with suicides still on, or maybe I hadn't, no, I don't think I'd activated them yet. They're on now. We've got Medusa here for Omega Sentinel. Shout out to Tommy. This is stun immune, and Medusa isn't a tactic attacker. I also was umming and ahhing. I've put my suicides on. I don't have willpower active on the build. I didn't change it up. I wasn't worried about ticking down a bit of bleed damage. PS1 active, medium light medium, L1, and Omega Sentinel being a robot means that's going to shut her down, including gaining any power from the node, so I can essentially do what I like. I'm still going to take a little tick down damage from the power detonations, but it really isn't an issue. She is, I haven't used Medusa for a long time, not for a couple of tactics ago now, and it's always a delight. Omega Sentinel goes down very, very easily. And we move on to the fight I was probably most worried. I was actually, I think, most worried about Prowler on 9, to be honest. Sentinel rather. But Yelena is not to be sniffed at. Mad Cat once more. Normally, when I've fought Jean a couple of times on this node, or I think Bullseye as well, took a bit too much rupture damage on this node, which, as we know, Bastion isn't immune to. I didn't want to gamble with that today, as I just can't afford to take the damage. I need to be a lot safer versus Yelena. We're going to do a lot of waiting around. Fortunately, when she does hit into my block, she does place bleed, instant bleed damage. I get very lucky there with the L2 connecting. I don't think I meant to throw it, to be honest. It would have been nice to get a couple more parries off, but that's fine. Unfortunately, the downtime of waiting around for ruptures does use up most of my Fury timer. We're a little bit luckier on the RNG hitting during rupture this time. I did take one on, but I feel like the last couple of times I've fought this node, it's been every single hit has triggered a rupture, which has ticked me down a lot. Apparently, Bastion, I haven't seen why or whatever, but people are saying Bastion at the moment against Yelena is bugged and doing far more damage than intended. I guess I just see it as red damage. We are currently in her reversal mode. so I'm trying to hit only with specials and obviously only hit a block to bring her combo back down. This is a long fight. It does feel very safe, apart from me getting hit in the face there. That's the first mistake of this war, which I will take. I'm more than happy with that. At least now I can use the rupture timer to do something useful rather than just back off and you know, bring the combo counter back down. So back into observation mode. We essentially have to start again because all my ramp has gone. I don't think I went back to L2 this time. We're just going to go with a couple more L1s to finish things off. Making sure to parry as much as I can rather than just hard block-ish, as that's going to build up my infection charges a lot faster. I think we go with one more L1 and that's going to be enough to see the fight out. Now I'm waiting for her to throw a heavy, which she doesn't do. We get lucky again on that connection and it's enough to put her 6 feet rather, underground. We can move on to Boss Island. We survived that, feeling invincible. Shout out to Ardenal, Onslaught on 47 here. I haven't done this for a couple of seasons, so I had to sort of go back and watch myself. Yeah, this is a very good fight. We nuke him down pretty quickly. We do make a bit of a mistake at the end, which we will come to, but all in all, pretty good. I was umming and ahhing whether to use an invulnerability boost, but felt good with the Power Start 1, which I'm also going to need for the final fight. I think since the last time I took this fight, Bastion was at like, sort of, maybe SIG, could have been SIG 20 if not slightly higher, but with SIG 200, you can see a massive difference with the Furies, again, which I've only got one of here. Just waiting to bait the first special, which I don't make a mess of. I remember the last time making quite a hash of that. And first L1, which I get lucky on with my in terms of distance during that final beam and the unstoppable. He's at very low health now. One more special will obviously do the trick. Unfortunately, Trigger's unstoppable there and we throw most of it into block. I do get punished, eat an L1 to the face, which hurts a lot. I'm not panicking. I know that it's going to lose me a lot of health. I don't have another Bastion fight though, and honestly, Onslaught is so close to being dead. This is all it takes. Other than that's again the other big mistake I've made this war. Really wasn't worried. That felt very, very good. And we can move on to Warlock on 49, which again is a tactic fight. It's going to be very similar to the Omega Sentinel fight, except this time, as it's obviously polka dot power and Warlock doesn't bleed, I'm not going to gain any power after the initial armor shatter. So I just need to make sure I hit him very, very hard. Bait heavy to start with. Obviously I can't parry again, although that was the same on 29, although this time I wasn't sure when I was sort of putting my thoughts into the fight whether now that his armor shattered if I could parry safely, but I wasn't gonna with stun reflection, but I wasn't gonna risk it. There's absolutely no need. Just gonna bait heavies each time, hit him with some big yellow numbers and kill him before armor shatter ends and his armor comes back. Although if his armor does end, it's not the end of if the armor shatter does end, it's not the end of the world anyway, because he'll be dead shortly afterwards. Bish, bash, bosh. Very nice. Big roar of delight there, and that felt very, very good. So that's the end of my war, which is still currently ongoing. We really did shoot ourselves in the foot. LVT didn't have their best war either. I'm not sure if they're still at 6 or if they've had a couple more, but we really weren't great. We've regressed a little bit, which is a shame. But GG's to them anyway. At least I had fun, had a good performance, felt good. Shout out to everyone. Thank you for watching. Until next time, bye!